All right, hey everyone. So today we're going to tackle something you probably think is, kind of old and stuffy, but I'm going to show you how it's actually one of the most epic, high-stakes games ever invented. Seriously.
Okay, look, I get it. When you hear the word opera, you're probably picturing something your grandparents might be into, right? Just forget all of that for a second. What if I told you that opera has all the stuff you love about your favorite video games? I'm talking high-powered characters, massive world building, and a team that makes it all happen live in real time with no lag and no do-overs.
So, let's break it down. Every great game starts with one thing: choosing your player. Well, in Opera, you don't pick a class with a mouse or a controller. The character's class is defined by their ultimate weapon: their voice.
And this is where it gets really cool. Just look at how these voice types line up perfectly with classic gaming rules. The soprano, she's the heroine, basically your high-damage mage dealing out massive vocal attacks. The tenor is your main character, the warrior, the protagonist you're rooting for. The mezzo-soprano can be a support class or a powerful dark sorceress. The baritone is your versatile rogue, good at everything. And the bass? He's the tank, the big, wise, powerful foundation of the whole team. You've literally got a perfectly balanced raid party right there on stage.
And you gotta understand, these players are on the hardest difficulty setting imaginable. There are 0 microphones, no amps, nothing. It takes years and years of intense training. We're talking serious grinding to level up your voice so you can be heard over an 80-person orchestra and fill this gigantic room with sound. That's not just skill, that's a real-life superpower.
Okay, so you've got your players all picked out. Now let's dive into the game world itself. Every awesome game needs a killer soundtrack and a powerful engine to run everything, right? Well, in Opera, all of that is happening completely live. See that lowered area right in front of the stage? That's the orchestra pit. And you can think of that as the engine room for the entire show.
Now, the orchestra is pulling double duty here. First, they're the live soundtrack that adapts to every single thing happening on stage. But they're also the physics engine for all the emotions. When the music gets big and exciting, you feel the character's courage. When it gets quiet and tense, you feel their dread. It's all happening in the moment, shaping the entire emotional landscape of the story.
So who's running this whole live operation? That's the conductor. You gotta think of them as the lead developer and the server admin all rolled into one. It's their job to keep every singer and every musician perfectly in sync, making sure this incredibly complex game runs without a single bug or glitch. I mean, talk about a high-pressure job. Okay, so we've got our players and our game world. But what's the point of it all? Well, every great game needs a great story, a main quest to follow. In opera, that's called the libretto.
Now that word, libretto, just means little book in Italian. And that's exactly what it is. It's the script, the dialogue. It's basically the game's quest log. It tells you all the objectives, the character motivations, and the entire story, from the opening cutscene all the way to the final boss.
And the lore in this game is deep. We're talking centuries of content drops from legendary creators. You got the OG, Monteverdi, who wrote the first major hits. Then Mozart came along and added way more complex characters, and even some funny side quests. Verdi was the master of these huge emotional expansion packs. And then there was Wagner. This dude was basically building the Marvel Cinematic Universe of opera, with these massive, interconnected worlds of music and myth.
So you see the singers, you see the conductor, but just like with a huge AAA video game, there is a massive dev team working behind the scenes, behind the code to make this whole world come alive. I mean, just look at this crew. The stage managers are like live event moderators, making sure everything happens on cue. The lighting techs are controlling the graphics and setting the mood. Costume designers? They're literally creating custom character skins. The prop masters are forging all the in-game items. And the stagehands? Get this, they're like a human render farm, building the next level in total darkness, while the current one is still being played. It takes an army of people to pull this off every single night.
So you might be thinking, okay, but isn't a 400-year-old game gonna feel a little outdated? Well, that's the thing. Opera is always getting next-gen updates and HD remakes to keep it feeling fresh.
Modern directors are essentially giving these classics the full remaster treatment. So one night a character might be wearing historical clothes, and the next they're in a hoodie and jeans. Instead of an old painted backdrop, you might see these huge, mind-blowing digital projections. They're taking these classic stories and showing why they still matter today, sometimes even by setting them in like a wild cyberpunk future or something.
And the best part is, the accessibility is totally leveled up. You don't have to go to some fancy old opera house anymore.
You can stream these performances live, in high def, right to a movie theater, or even just on your laptop at home. It's basically like tuning into a Twitch stream to watch a top-tier pro gamer, but for opera.
So here's the main takeaway, the crucial point. Opera isn't some dusty artifact in a museum. It's a living, breathing, high-stakes game that's constantly being patched and updated to tell these amazing stories in new ways.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. If you could take any story you love, from a movie, a TV show, even another video game, and give it the full epic opera treatment, what would you pick? Seriously, think about it. Thanks so much for watching.